There was a certain age that I hit that those holiday traditions of watching the Peanuts Christmas special or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or any of those like 60s, 70s half-hour uh, after-school specials, practically, it just didn't do it with me anymore. I don't know how much my parents cared about it. It seemed like my dad seemed invested in them. He owns several of them on DVD. I don't think he bought them himself. They were gifted to him. So maybe he doesn't even care either. But there was a certain point in my teenage years that I was just like, I really don't need to see I don't need to see Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer again. I don't need to see Frosty the Snowman again. But there are certain things around this time of the year that I have to watch if I'm able. If I have time, I need to watch Elf. Elf is like, ever since it came out 2003, I have seen it every single year without fail, sometime around Christmas. And no matter how many times he does the joke where he swallows all the soda and then he burps really loud, or when he pulls the cotton ball out of his mouth or whatever when he's at the doctor's office, I crack up because it's Will Ferrell and because it's Will Ferrell at his complete kid-friendly best. Will Ferrell's a great, dirty, kind of like in old school or when he's in like more adult-themed movies. What's another good one? Wedding Crashers. His character Chaz is one of the best things about that movie. But when he's able to be PG and be Buddy the Elf, I'm just mystified by him. He's fantastic. He's so funny and so cute and clever, and I can't help but love to watch that movie every year. And then we move into weirder things, and I've got two things to share with you. The first one I mentioned on that really quickie episode of Five Things, and it may have sounded like I was joking, but I was completely serious. This movie is called Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It stars Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer, and also Michelle Monaghan. And it takes place in LA during Christmas, which is why it doesn't really feel like a Christmas movie, because LA at Christmas is pretty much like LA the rest of the year, just maybe 10 degrees colder. And he is he's like a petty thief who, as he's running out of a crime, stumbles into an audition, an acting audition, as you will in LA, and he gets cast to play some role in a movie, and it turns out that he's only being cast because they're trying to bump someone's price down, which is also a very typical story in LA. But the point is, he gets cast in this role, which is a detective role. Val Kilmer's character plays a professional detective who consults for films, which this is all very standard, like Hollywood business type stuff. It's written by Shane Black. Shane Black wrote Lethal Weapon, among other great films. He also wrote what's that? There's a Schwarzenegger movie, Last Action Hero, which is a very underrated, undervalued film. Very kind of ahead of its time when it came out. It's kind of meta. It's what we would refer to as meta now. Well, anyway, he wrote this film, which is very Hollywood-based. So Robert Downey, petty thief, cast as a detective. Real detective is hired to show him the ropes, show him how to be a detective. And they wind up in the middle of a pretty screwed up crime. And he has to deal with it. And to tell you any more would give things away. But suffice it to say, Roger Ebert put this in his top 10 films of the year that it came out. I think the chemistry between Robert Downey Jr. and Val Kilmer is the best I've ever seen for either one of them. It's absolutely great. And I also fell in love with Michelle Monaghan in this movie, and I've been in love with her ever since. So if you're the kind of guy who would do that, go for it. And then the last thing that I have to share with you is, now this is my weird, like, Elf can be enjoyed by just about anyone, but this is my weird cult favorite Christmas thing. This is called All of the Other Reindeer, and I don't know if it airs at all. I think I saw it aired on ABC Family the first time. That was how I found out about it. It is by Matt Groening, who made The Simpsons. It is voiced, Olive herself is voiced by Drew Barrymore, who I kind of want to do a Now You Know on, because if you don't know who Drew Barrymore is, she's from one of the longest lines of Hollywood actors and actresses that there is. Her family goes back over 100 years through like the epic tales of old Hollywood. It's bizarre. She's like one of the last ones. Well, anyway, Drew Barrymore. And then this penguin here is voiced by Joe Pantoliano, who is Cypher from The Matrix. He's the guy who, spoiler alert, betrays them all. The postman is the bad guy in the short. How long is this? 45 minutes. So it's longer than 28 minutes, but it's not quite an hour. The evil postmaster is voiced by Dan Castellaneta. I've never been able to figure out how to say his name. Castellaneta, who is the voice of Homer from The Simpsons. And then the other person who shows up, there are a couple others, but the other main person who shows up is Michael Stipe. He is the singer for REM, and he wrote music for it. There are like 3 or 4 songs, including Dan Castellaneta singing Christmas, Bah, Bug, and Hum, which is a very amusing track. I think hearing the voice of Homer singing just about anything is amusing. But this is a kind of quirky, it doesn't follow, it actually breaks a lot of rules of like the kid-friendly cartoon special. It includes many jokes that would be way over kids' heads. There's one point, by the way, let's just explain the premise of the story. Olive is a dog, and one of the reindeer is sick. It might be Rudolph, I don't really remember, but Santa does like a little news conference and says, I guess we'll have to rely on all of the other reindeer to pull their weight so that the sleigh, blah, 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 so that we can go. And when she hears that, she doesn't hear all of the other reindeer. She hears Olive, the other reindeer. And they actually continue to play with that pun thing throughout the movie. The bus driver at one point is named Richard Stans, and he tells them that he always thought that the Pledge of Allegiance was about him. I'll let you think about that for a second. Did you get it? Okay, good. If you're not an American and you don't know the Pledge of Allegiance, that would not be nearly as funny. Sorry! So anyway, Olive is the dog. She goes to the North Pole to try and save Christmas because she thinks she must actually be a reindeer, and Santa just didn't tell her. So, just one more thing. What did I want to say? I don't remember. Anyway, that's fun, and I will end up watching this at least once before or around the holiday. You can find all of these things on Amazon or Netflix or what have you. I don't have a copy of Elf. I kind of thought that I did, but I guess I don't. Maybe I need it on Blu-ray. Wink, wink, parents. Seriously, I'd take that. Merry Christmas!